Um, got a little story I like to tell that I told in another video, but I've never published it. And I know people talk about their military days and war stories. You live it once, you don't want to live it twice or more. I just don't get these guys to go down to the local bar and try to pick up women. I don't know if it happens anymore. I know back during Vietnam, guys, everybody was a Navy SEAL, and after midnight, you're all warriors. But none of that. I don't need to talk about any of that. But I went in the military, in the Army, and I was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, going through basic, and I went in June 14th, and we had 0 weeks, so around the 21st, 23rd, somewhere around there, we actually got into basic, and I went through. We were in I think between our 6th and 7th week, and I developed a pain in my abdomen. It was bad, and I'd had it before. Something about my intestines, but went on sick call down to the infirmary, or wherever they called it, and doctor saw me finally after about an hour there. I mean, I was just hunched over. I was hurt bad, and felt like I was gonna someone's gonna come out the side of me. And he said, "Well, I've got to send you up to the hospital, check your appendicitis." And I kind of knew it wasn't appendicitis, but I wasn't going to argue with him just in case it was. So he said, "We got to get you up to the hospital, but the next available vehicle wasn't going to be there for an hour and a half." I sat there a little bit, and that's it. I went and told the guy in front of the building that I'm leaving to walk up to the hospital. He looked at me kind of funny and said, "Well, whatever, So I walked a mile and a half, bent over like this. Nobody even attempted to stop to help me. I get to the hospital, and I'm hurt. I'm about ready to pass out. And I get in the admitting door, and the nurse says, "What's wrong with you?" And I go, "Well, I don't know. I'm looking for pennies, I guess. I don't know." And I hurt. She said, "Oh, we don't have your records yet. The infirmary hasn't sent them up, so we got to wait for those." I said, "I can tell you what's wrong." And she said, "Well, we need to have a doctor with you, but he can't look at you until you've seen the records that the first doctor saw you." I said, "The first doctor wasn't a doctor. He was a medic." She goes, "Well, it doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and have you looked at, but it'll probably be an hour and a half." So there, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, who knows how long, since it started hurting. And I was in the hospital. I had to wait, another hour possibly to see a doctor. So I said, "Okay," and I sit down. I was squirming because it hurt, and I couldn't get comfortable. And finally, the doctor saw me. He said, "Oh, we think you have appendicitis or something wrong with your stomach or whatever. We're going to stick a tube down your throat, drain out your stomach, and see what that does." And I said, "Yeah, that's all I need is just a little more pain." But he said, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he stuck an IV in my arm in case they had to give me some kind of medication. So I laid there. I had to get up, IV in this arm, tube down my nose, into my stomach, hooked to some kind of container that looked like puke because it came out of my stomach. And I had to get up every day and mop around my bed. And they had orderlies there. They had guys just sitting around. And tell you, everybody in the hospital, including the doctors, were great. I think it was just a military way. It's just the way they were instructed how to do things. But you'll get, once in a while, you get a really good doctor that bucks the system, but he never lasts. He'll get out in private practice because he's got the good bedside manner. But I was in the hospital for, 5 to 7 days. I forget, that's been 50 some years ago. But I was in the hospital, and everything had passed. It got better, and they took the thing out of my nose into my stomach and removed the IV. Well, I went back to basic training. I was able, they allowed me to, I had missed enough, I don't know how that happened, that they let me go back to my original basic training company and finish out with them. Well, I think I got back like on a Friday, and we were going to graduate in a week. So the guys wanted to go out and celebrate. We really didn't go anywhere. But I was in a taxi cab with 3 other guys. We were going back to the company area, and I started hurting in my arm. It just felt like somebody had a vice around it, especially right in here. So I don't know what happened. I went back to the company, and the officer on duty or whoever was there had me admitted to the hospital because all the medical facilities other than the hospital were closed. They took me in. They had, what I was told at the time, they should have changed that IV after being in so many days from one arm to the other. I don't know if that's true, but I developed a blood clot all the way from my elbow up to my shoulder. And I could tell it was serious because the doctor told me, we're going to get you right in the bed. We're going to put blood thinners in you, and we're just going to hope for the best, because if any of that blood clot breaks off, with your heart or your brain or lungs or whatever, you're dead. So I said, okay. So I found a comfortable bed. They put in the IV in this arm with blood thinners in it, and I think within 3 days, 4 days, I was okay. The blood clot had thinned out or dispersed, and I was doing a lot better. So they sent me back. They decided I'd been out of basic training too long. I wasn't physically fit, which was true, because being, all of us on your back for that long time, you don't get much exercise. So they, little boogers in there. They gave me 2-week convalescent leave. So I went home. I wasn't against it, but I wanted to get all the basic over with. So I went home. 2 weeks, went back. I was assigned to a supply company or platoon or something. They're in charge of some of the supplies on Fort Leonard Wood, giving them out to the basic training people. And I was there about a few days, and I was told they're going to try to find a basic training unit that I could get into that would have been like in its 5th, 6th week, so I get some physical training, but I wouldn't have to go through basic all over again. Well, I was there a few days, and the captain of this supply company, he was kind of in charge of me as far as getting me back into basic. I don't know what the connection was, but he called me in, or they called me into his office. I just walked in and said, okay, what's up? And he looked at me and he said, I use this phrase loosely, private snow. I have orders here to send you, my recommendation or not, to send you to a basic training unit that's in its 5th, 6th, 7th week, and finish out your basic training. So you wouldn't have to go through the full 7, 8 weeks, whatever it is. But with your attitude, and it doesn't seem like you learned anything so far, I'm going to put you in this other company, which is in its 2nd week, and you will finish out basic training. You'll do it again. In the meantime, and I think it was before this that part happened, I've written my congressman or Senator Harold Hughes, not Howard. Howard is the rich guy. And I wrote him and I said, I think they're trying to kill me. Blood clots and making me walk, when I thought they had appendicitis and really not giving a crap about me. And I sent it off to him. So I go back to my basic training in my 2nd week. And my attitude was horrible. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to get out. I wanted to just get done with it. Just be done with it all. I liked the organization and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't like the politics. So, but actually that captain that sent me back to my 2nd week instead of my 5th, 6th, or 7th week probably did me a big favor, because I was able to get back into shape, and I needed it for where I was going. So about my 3rd week in my recycled or basic again, the sergeant came up to me, took me aside, and he says, "No, I'm not even going to use private. You don't even qualify for private." He says, "You're at a crossroads in your life right now." I go, "Why?" He says, "Because you have sent a letter to your senator, and he has contacted certain people in the Army saying that you think we're trying to kill you." And I said, "Well, at the time, that was probably how I was feeling." He says, "Okay, let me give you 2 choices. Only 2. First one is you pursue that. You pursue your case with your senator and the Army, and you go ahead and take your chances of getting out, and the rest of your life you'll have to live with it. That you got out of the military, it was too tough for you." And my dad was in World War II. I had an uncle on my mother's side that lost a leg in Europe in World War II. I think it was France, but I'm not sure. He never talked about it. And my brother was in the Air Force at the time. And I just said to myself, I'm going to do it. Well, in about 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks after that, same sergeant came up to me, took me aside, and he said, "Private Snow, I've never, ever, in all my days in the military, I've been in for 15 years, ever seen anyone attitude change like yours did." And I just told him I made the choice. You gave me 2 choices, I made the choice. He says, "Thank you." There. Now, get some of the paint out of this. Okay, now doing the second side is the easiest. This stuff dries fast, and it's warm and windy, Not real windy, just about right. But this shouldn't take much at all to get this all, the other side all painted, and then tomorrow I can put these up once I finish the framing. And the framing isn't going to be a big deal. There's some rotted stuff and some 2x4s I'm going to replace with treated. And other than that, just get that all straightened out and sturdied up, and all my 2x going across that these things will screw into. Get them all done, and then shoot, it's more or less done. It's got a little touch up here and there to do, and probably paint the face of it again. Looks like my neighbor's over there. Maybe not. He's a good old guy, Papa John. He's been my neighbor since we lived here. We've been here since 1991, so going on 32 years we've been in this house. And like I said before in some of my videos, it's small. We got a couple of nice storage sheds out back. We have a storage shed that we rent too. We're gradually going through our stuff and getting rid of it, so eventually that storage shed will go away, but right now it's not. It doesn't cost that much. It's not a big deal. Everything's.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, like, comment, and tell your friends. If you didn't like it, tell your enemies. Please stay tuned for more earth-shattering and provocative videos to come. Jim's If It Ain't Broke, Fix It.